A gentleman in his early 80s and his wife owed the IRS about $1.6 million. So he came to us, and at that point, we quickly discovered that he had not filed for close to 10 years due to them selling a rental property and not reporting and not filing their tax returns on time. The IRS was threatening to take his house. He did have a house with significant equity in it. They were threatening to take that to satisfy the liability. Furthermore, he had significant retirement accounts and investment accounts, being 80 years old, which he was basically living off of. They were threatening to take those as well. So we got involved with the revenue officer working on the case. We were able to buy some time, prevent anything bad from happening. No garnishments, no liens, et cetera, et cetera. We were able to get information together, get his returns filed, and most importantly, finally, after about 6 months, we were able to convince the IRS that he did not, in fact, owe about $1.2 million for a 2020 tax year, the year he sold the rental property, and we're able to convince them to reduce it to $75,000, which is the actual amount he would have owed plus penalty and interest. So that was a pretty good result. He does have equity in property, so we're trying to get him a home equity loan. And we want to do a home equity because we don't want to disturb the first mortgage, which he has at about 3%. So we only want to borrow enough to clear the IRS and not refinance the larger mortgage that has a good rate on it. People need to understand now that, as opposed to 2 or 3 years ago, borrowing money, for lack of a better term, from the IRS by not paying your taxes, the penalties are still exorbitant, up to 50% in some cases the tax owed. But back then, the interest was reasonable. It was maybe 3%. Now, the interest rate, this quarter at least, 2024, fourth quarter, is 8%. 8% is no longer cheap money. That grows. If you owe $100,000, that's growing at $8,000 a year. So you can see, if you can only afford to pay them maybe $500 or $600 a month, you're not even covering the interest at this point. Whereby same debt 2 or 3 years ago, that $500 or $600 was actually eating away at the liability. So best to figure out a solution, best to prevent it from happening in the first place. So overall, we were able to stop all of those. We got his liability from $1.5, $1.6 million down to about $190,000, much more manageable. And he's very happy, obviously, that he can take care of this and move on with his life.